Hey everyone, it's Software Engineer 101. Today I'm going to be covering loops in C#, and we'll go through the for loop, the for each loop, and the while loop. Let's get going. Open up your Visual Studio, click Create New Project. You want to type in on the search console.net. Select that project. I'm going to name ours Loops. I'm going to make sure all this is still the same as my other previous videos. .NET Framework, make sure you get the latest. And place solution project in the same directory. Click Create. Alright, once your solution is created in your class, let's dive down into the static void main. First, we're going to cover the for loop. Alright, in C#, a for loop has three parts. So first, let's go for integer. I is commonly used in programming as the iteration variable in a loop. Equals 0. And our second statement is going to be I is less than, let's say 5, semicolon, space, and increment I is what we want to do. And then have your curly braces. So this for loop will start with I equals 0, and it will run through, and then after it runs through, it's going to see if I is less than 5. If that's the case, it will increment it by 1 and reloop. To test this, let's create a print statement in here. Console.writeLine, and I'm going to set it up as a string builder, and let's say for loop I. There we go. And outside of the for loop, in your static void main, make sure we do the read line command so it won't close the console application. There we go. I'm going to click Control S to save and press F5 and run it. Alright, as we can see, first time it runs through, I is 0. Then it increments. Then I becomes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Last time it comes through here, it's gonna, after it's 4, I will then be incremented to 5. And then when it comes back, it'll say, hey, is 5 less than 5? No, it's not. So it'll break and then continue on. Close your program, and then we are going to move on to a for each loop. A for each is kind of a built-in way in C# to iterate through things without having to set a counter for going through an object that you're wanting to, whatever you want to do with it. So for the for each loop, I'm going to create an array. This will kind of help us kind of visualize what's going on. I'm going to make an array of integers. Actually, no, let's do it of chars. No, let's do the integers. And go do your brackets. Let's call this int array equals. All right. Let's go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then down here, let's go for each. Alright. A var can be anything. It will change itself to whatever item it is declared into it. So these are the defaults that it comes with. You can change this to int. I preferably, if I know what I'm going to be iterating through, I'm going to change it to int and say item, and then here here I'm going to say our int array. So down inside of your for each loop, let's do a console.writeLine. Oops. And same thing as before, your $ string builder. And let's say int array position, and we're going to say item. I'm sorry, use your curly braces. Item. Okay, this will automatically loop through the int array and print out every item in the array, and then continue. So here you go. Didn't have to create a variable and counter to run through, it just does it automatically. Last but not least, let's do the while loop. This one's pretty simple, and honestly you can make it create an infinite loop. First time we'll do this, we will create an infinite loop, so be ready to see your screen go a little crazy. While one, or first let's create an integer here. Int counter equals 0. Let's say while counter is less than 5. Let's do console.writeLine. We're going to string builder it, and we're going to say while loop counter equals counter. There we go. And here I'm going to say for each loop, so we don't get these confused. Okay. OCD there. Like to see caps. Alright. Now, it will go ahead and print these like previously, but when it gets to here, this will continue printing forever until we stop the program in Visual Studio. As you see, it is printing like a madman. It is just keep going. Alright, so stop your program. So that's an infinite loop because we never change this variable. So it stays inside of here forever because counter is always less than 5. So we can come down here inside of the while loop and say counter plus plus. So now this should only run 0 to 4 times, so 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, no longer an infinite loop. So loops are very common. You'll use them a lot in your programming, so make sure you kind of understand them. And especially, I might cover it in a project later on, but when you get into nested for loops, it can get very confusing when you have a for loop inside of a for loop inside of a for loop. That's when it gets messy, but it's not too bad. You just kind of learn how to take it one step at a time, and I'm sure I'll create a video to walk through that. If you enjoyed this short, quick video on loops in C#, follow my channel and like the video. Thanks.